Hello and welcome to another edition of Knickerbocker Banter. I'm your host, as always, Harris Wishard. Knick fans, how the heck are you feeling? And now I know myself, I needed a day of recovery. I wanted to come in here and talk to everybody yesterday. My voice wasn't allowing me to do that, so I had to wait. But that environment the other day, man, winning is fun. Winning at MSG in the playoffs is heaven. It feels simply like an alternative universe where there are no problems, only if the Knicks pull out the win, of course. But in all seriousness, that was just an unbelievable time. Saw a lot of people, some people that listen to the show and supporters, but all in all, just hugging random people. That to me is my favorite part about playoff basketball and how much everybody cares about it. You're high-fiving randoms. You're walking up and down the aisles. It was a party. But it didn't always feel that way in the fourth quarter when they were trailing by 3 and you're getting a little nervous. But as you can tell, I'm still fired up and getting ready for tonight. It's just a fun ride. And that's my bottom line is don't ignore what you need to do is ignore the people that are telling you that the Knicks fan are having too much fun. The Knicks fan is overreacting right now. The Knicks fan is quote unquote doing too much. F that. Okay? Optimism is high, passion is high, party on the streets. This is the playoffs. And I don't really care. Fans don't need to act like they've been there before. That's for the players to do. Now, I'm not saying go streaking in the street, but we could be as excited as we want to be. And that's going to be the case because unlike a few years ago, and I'm wearing, by the way, if you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you could see the We Here shirt from a few years ago. This is not that team. This is not, oh, they're the 4 seed. They might win a round and then we'll see type of deal. This is, you're the second best team record-wise in the Eastern Conference with an MVP candidate. You believe you can make a push. This is very different than that. So I saw a little of that. I ignored it. It doesn't get me frustrated. I had a great time with my brother-in-law at the game. It was an awesome experience, top to bottom. And we'll get into the game now. And Joel Embiid's health, right? Because that's a major factor. He throws the ball off the backboard. He had a great first quarter, by the way. But Mitchell Robinson did a heck of a job on him, didn't he? Right? So Hartenstein struggles a little bit with Embiid. He goes off in the first quarter. The Sixers jump out to that lead. And then, somewhere in the middle of the second quarter, a few minutes left, Embiid decides to throw the ball off the glass to himself, dunks it. It was one of the best highlights I've seen in a while. But then he's down like he got shot, and now he's back in the second half. So this Embiid injury stuff is going to go on all playoff long, or for the Knicks case, hopefully just this series. We don't want to see the Sixers win, of course, but Embiid is going to deal with this. And now you hear the stuff come out about Maxey and Tyrese Maxey and the illness. Guys, they're going to list him as questionable. These guys are going to go. I would be shocked if Tyrese Maxey didn't play tonight. But let's get back to how the Knicks got back in this game because they were down 9 after the first quarter. And we said it on the show Thursday when we were talking to Freddie Coleman, who was going to have to step up. It was going to have to be the bench. The Knicks dominated the Sixer bench 42-7, and they also dominated those second quarter minutes early when Embiid wasn't in the game. And that's how they got back in. Shout out Deuce McBride. We asked you to step up. I would have taken 10 to 12 points from Deuce. He gave us 21. He made a ton of threes. He was everywhere. He was ready for the moment. And this is not a slight at Emmanuel Quickly, because I love Emmanuel Quickly. But this is what you needed from him in the postseason last year. Deuce McBride coming off the bench. And even Childs talked about maybe even starting Deuce. And at the time, you're like, no, DiVincenzo, that you can't change anything now. Deuce McBride was pretty damn good this basketball game. As good as you could have expected him to be, and then some. So he changes the momentum, but he had help. It was his friend, Bojan Bogdanović, coming in the game with some big baskets, banking in a 3. He was everywhere. And he made a big shot in the fourth quarter as well, but the Knicks have a unbelievably dominant second quarter. And I will tell you, to me, who was the most important player in the game, because I continued to think about this. Was it Deuce? Was it Josh Hart, who was obviously unbelievable late? To me, the most important player in this game is Mitchell Robinson. Because If you don't stop Embiid, you're going to have trouble with Philadelphia. I know he's going to get his 30, but he had to work extremely hard. And I was screaming from the crowd, screaming it as I still recover. Hands straight up, make it difficult. Keep your ground. Don't leave your feet. These are the things that Mitchell Robinson struggled with early in his career that he has gotten, unbelievable with. This early this season before he got hurt, and now. When he was out for a long period of time, I think people forgot how dangerous Mitch Robinson could be when he's going right. 4 blocks in this game. By the way, Embiid had 0. That's why I am an adamant Knicks fan when it comes to going at Embiid, making it difficult for him. I was telling everybody in the crowd, listen, why are we timid around the rim around Joel Embiid? I know he could block a shot or two, but go chest to chest. Did you see that move that Josh Hart made when he went chest to chest with Embiid? I want more of that. Stop backing down. Stop jumping to pass. Go at these guys. Go downhill. 0 block shots for the big fella on the wearing 21 for the Philadelphia 76ers. So to me, this was a very interesting game because it was a tale of multiple quarters, right? You had the dominant first by Philly. The Knicks get back in and play one of their best quarters of the season. They win it by, 21? 33-12? So the Knicks find themselves up double figures at half, and you think, okay, Embiid's banged up. The Knicks are up double figures. We're just going to ride off into the sunset now. Well, if you've been a Knicks fan your whole life, you know that usually that's not the case. And it's not going to be that simple. And Philly came out and had a tremendous third quarter. They dominated the Knicks in the third quarter. Maxey got to the rim, right? It wasn't so much Embiid. Tyrese Maxey led the charge in the third quarter as he got the Sixers back in this game. Not only back in this game, folks. Philly had a lead going into the fourth quarter, and those non-Embiid minutes continue to burn Philadelphia. The plus-minus in this game was wild. It really was. I mean, just McBride alone was a plus 28. Excuse me. In 28 minutes McBride played, he was a plus 37. And it's just overwhelming how much better the second unit was for the Knicks, led by obviously Bogey, McBride, and Robinson, and how much Philadelphia suffered without Embiid on the floor. It really was. So what do you have to look forward to tonight? Well, it's going to be a pretty damn exciting one at MSG again. And I just know the Knicks cannot take their foot off the gas. That to me is the message. You have home court, act like it. I talked about the importance of game 1. They got it, right? Any series that they've won in the playoffs, the winner of that game 1, the last 3 that the Knicks have played, you look back to the Atlanta series, they lost game 1, they didn't win it. You look back to the Cleveland series last year, they won in game 1, they won the series. Miami series, they lost game 1, they didn't win the series. So now you're off to the right start. But the last thing you can do, and you can afford to do, is give the momentum back to this team. Because we know, to me, I know that they're not going to lay down. Now, you might say, Harris, the Knicks dominated Philly on the glass. They quit in that game. All right, listen. Philadelphia pushed back in the third quarter, and then Josh Hart turned into Steph Curry. So I know the Knicks got this job done. I know that they're the better team. I know that they seem to have wanted more, but one game doesn't make a series, right? So I'll take a deep breath. I'll get ready to go. The fans have never been more starving, as I've talked about. The great thing about this is the players match that New York energy. Josh Hart and his hustle, and obviously we talk about his shot making, but the amount of possessions that the Knicks keep alive for themselves allows them to stay in games when they don't shoot the ball well. And Anunoby is an example of that as well, because he didn't really make much of an offensive impact on this game, but you, as we've talked about all year, you see the impact that he makes. So it's a battle in the fourth quarter in game 1. It's going back and forth. And like I said, timely shots. OG Anunoby, who did not have a great offensive night, makes the left wing 3, and then obviously Hart. But Mitchell Robinson, like I said, deserves a ton of credit for the job he did on Joel Embiid. He was absolutely terrific. And I wouldn't start him again. I don't think Tibbs will make any adjustments at this point. McBride and Robinson will continue to come off the bench. I think that's exactly what they need to be. They could crank their minutes up a little bit. Hartenstein only played 18 minutes. DiVincenzo only played 24 minutes. So you could keep the same guys starting the game unless it becomes a real problem. Like you look 2 or 3, 4, 5 games into the series and the starters aren't playing well. But I would keep the same exact flow. I would continue to dominate their second unit and force Embiid to be on the floor for 40 plus minutes. I would keep the same formula. And by the way, Jalen Brunson was 8 for 26, and the Knicks still won this basketball game. And you know how he comes back off of bad performances. But I don't expect that to happen again. But the way they're guarding him, the way they are defending Brunson, they're basically saying anybody is going to beat us except him. They forced Hart. And the reason why Hart was so fired up when he made those shots is he knows how they're defending it. Back up. Let's see what you can do. We've all played against guys like that before. If Hart shoots the ball with confidence and these other guys continue to play like that, the Knicks are going to be an extremely tough out going forward. Listen, enjoy. I don't have to tell you anymore. The word enjoy, I don't have to say at the end of these episodes anymore, because if you're not enjoying this, you don't even enjoy basketball. Listen, we will be back later in the week. I appreciate all the support. The interviews have been so fun. I'm having a blast doing this. We're going to have a couple more down the road this week and to recap game 2 coming back tomorrow. But listen, it's been a heck of a time. It's been a heck of a ride. Just take a load off. Enjoy it with your family and friends. Knicks basketball at its peak right now. We will talk to you soon. Let's get game 2 and take full control of this series.